So in today's video lesson, I'm going to be talking about what are the 3 Ps, and then why is it important to release them, right? So the why. The mind wants to know why we need to do something oftentimes, to have proof as to why it's important and then to actually make the time to do it. So I'm going to be sharing that with you today. I'm going to then give you some examples as to what the 3 Ps might look like in your life. I know that some of you listening, watching this might be saying, well, I don't think I struggle with perfection, or I'm not really a people pleaser. I'm here to tell you that it's sneaky. These patterns and beliefs that keep us doing these 3 P things are really sneaky. So you might not even be aware, right? So that's part of my job as your coach, is to shine that light. Because if we're not aware, we can't change something, right? So we bring complete awareness and then acceptance to how we are currently living out the 3 Ps every day in our life. Because as you know, if you've been following me, that punishing ourselves or berating ourselves or judging ourselves for doing something is not going to help to change it. Acceptance is the key to change. So we're going to shine the light, awareness, and acceptance. And then I'm going to give you a little passion work to do at the end of the video today. So in a nutshell, that's what we're going to do. So why don't we dive in? So, okay, number 1, what are the 3 Ps? As I've said before, they are people-pleasing, perfectionism, and pretending to be superwoman. So I'm just going to go through each one of those and give a little explanation and a few examples, okay? So let's start with people-pleasing, one of my absolute favorites. So all of these 3 Ps can come out in different areas of our life, right? They can come out in our personal life, they can come out in a professional life, they may come out in all areas or just like one area. So that's going to be a little bit different for each of you. If you're like me, I struggle with all of the 3 Ps and pretty much did in all areas of my life, right? So people-pleasing. What might people-pleasing look like? So people-pleasing might look like you say yes to things when you really don't want to. So you say yes to doing something that you really don't want to do. And you do that for a lot of different reasons. We're going to get into all of that in the audio lesson. But you know what I'm talking about. Somebody asks you to do something, maybe it's at work, maybe it's in your personal life with family, whether it's your spouse, your kids, your mom, your dad. Maybe you do it with your friends. Maybe you even do it with strangers. The first word out of your mouth when somebody asks you to do something is yes, even before you stop to think about it. So that is a form of people-pleasing, right? If you're a yes woman or man, there might be a few men listening to this as well. We all struggle with it. So people-pleasing might also look like, so maybe you're at work and they ask you to do something at work and you're already like way too busy and you don't have enough time to do the things you already need to do, but you can't help but say, okay, I'll do it. So that might be an example. Those of you who are coaches, work for yourself, right? A client might email you or call you or text you or whatever on the weekend, and you know you don't work weekends, but you find yourself replying to that, right? That is a form, perhaps, of people-pleasing. Okay, so let me see if there's another example. Okay, One of my clients recently agreed to, what did she agree to do? One of her main areas is with her family. So she agrees to go make visits and to make phone calls to certain family members, even though she really doesn't want to talk to them, because she's, their family, right? Loyalty. So people pleasing when it comes to that. Doing, calling, whatever it might be with family. Oh, here's another good one. Okay, so a lot of us may have gone to school for, or even taken jobs, right? Gone to college or taken jobs where we really didn't feel that it was what we wanted to do, but we did it anyways because we didn't want to disappoint our parents, right? So those are all examples of how we people please in our life. And there's a lot more examples, right? But I'm just giving you a few to start with. Okay, so let's move to perfection. My second favorite. They're actually all my favorite. So perfection. I know a lot of you think, well, I'm not a perfectionist. Well, I'm going to say, let's take a look at it. Because again, perfectionism is sneaky. We have this idea of what perfection is supposed to look like. And if it doesn't fall into that, then it's not you. Now, perfectionism also can be seen as derogatory. So we can hide that we are like that from ourselves, even though we are, because we think it's bad, right? So perfectionism can look a couple different ways. One of them, and it can come out in different areas of your life again. Maybe you're a perfectionist at work. Maybe you will put like so much time and effort, more than really is probably necessary, into projects at work, right? You got to get them right. Maybe you're a perfectionist at home when it comes to cleaning. The house is spotless, right? Maybe you're a perfectionist because things have to look a certain way, or everything has to be scheduled or planned or structured, right? So that is a piece of perfectionism too. Having to have things be or look a certain way, having to be in control. How many of you are control queens? Right? Okay, so I get it. I know. I'm a recovering control queen. And none of this is bad. None of these patterns are bad, you guys. We're just taking an honest look at them today and where we might be having them in our life. Okay? So again, some of you are going to have perfectionistic tendencies at home. Sometimes it's going to be at work. Sometimes both. Sometimes it's going to look like being in control of things, wanting to be in control of things, people, places, or things. Okay? So take note. If you didn't think you were a perfectionist, probably are. So the third one is pretending to be superwoman. What the hell does that mean? Well, superwoman can do everything, right? So if you are someone who does everything, maybe you are a mom, so you take care of all that stuff. You also work a full-time job. You've got this social calendar. So pretending to be superwoman often looks like overscheduling and overcommitting. Whether it be, again, personal and or in the work setting. Whether you own your business or you work for somebody else. So pretending to be superwoman. Overdoing is a great, just like simple way of saying that, right? So this is a sneaky one. For me and a lot of my clients, overdoing doesn't just mean work stuff. It means sociable, things that we like too. If you are busy all the time and have no downtime, I don't care if it's something that's fun. That is still a symptom of pretending to be superwoman. So I'm going to give you a personal example of that, right? So, a lot of you know that one of my wake-up calls was I was diagnosed with MS. Now, this is actually going to be a great example that covers all three of the three P's. Because they're actually, you guys, all tied together. The three P's are really tied together. If you suffer from one, you probably suffer from all three, and they kind of go like this together. So when I was diagnosed with MS, that was a huge wake-up call for me in looking at the three P's. So I was somebody who, and I'm still recovering, I still fall into these patterns. I just have tools to get back out more quickly and easily because I teach what I need to learn, right? So as a perfectionist, how do I say this? I even overdid, right? Perfectionism can look like quantity or quality. Okay, so overdoing as well. That's how they're tied. So I never had, I couldn't say no, right? So I was always saying yes to things at work and socially, right? Because I wanted to please people, right? Okay, so I had that. Then I overdid because of my perfectionism and pretending to be superwoman. So I really got burnt out because I couldn't say no, and I had this like drive to do because, well, we'll get into this in the next lesson, but a lot of it had to do with my self-worth, right? Wanting other people's love and approval, needing that to feel worthwhile. So the MS came, I believe, because, I burnt myself out. And I was driven to the point of, complete breakdown because I overdid all the time. So I guess I'm kind of moving into now not only my example, but really into why is it important? Why is it important if you have these patterns to change it, to heal it? And number one is your health. So, my health took a turn for the worse pretty early on. I was only 29 when I got diagnosed. I'm now 39. So our health suffers when we fall into the three P's. We don't take time for ourselves because we're constantly pleasing others. We do too much, so not enough rest and or play, right? Most of us, it's a lot of work, 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 and even you can overdo with playing. So rest is essential. So it's going to impact all of our health a little bit differently, but it can impact your health physically, like actual physical illness, like I got diagnosed with MS, and or emotionally. So it might look like depression. It might look like anxiety. Part of mine was my weight. I struggled with my weight a lot because I was so stressed out. That affects your cortisol levels, right? Your stress levels in your body. I also was so stressed out because of my schedule. In overdoing that, it impacted my sleep. Anxiety, really affects your sleep and stress. So health is a huge one. Weight, illness, emotional, anxiety, depression. Okay, so take note if you're having a health breakdown, it's likely due to the three P's. You suffering from one or all three of the three P's. Number two, why it's important, is that when we are busy all the time and we don't slow down and we are people pleasing and we are trying to get things perfect, we don't have any space to actually listen to what I call our inner guru, our heart, our spirit. Because we are so busy, caught up in the three P's, right? That's a problem. Because we are not here to live somebody else's life, to please people. We are here to follow our own hearts, our own soul, our inner gurus, and to do things that truly make us happy, right? Your happiness. So the three P's cause that breakdown in happiness and following your heart, living your passion. Which brings us to number three, possibly, this is going to be a tough one for some of you, especially those of you who own your own business. It impacts us fully living our purpose. So if we are caught up in the 3 Ps, what eventually happens as we burn out, right? And then we're too sick or burnt out or not emotionally stable to help other people. So for those of you that are givers, healers, coaches, or you're just a mom, right? Living our passion, our purpose. Part of purpose is, for some of you, being a mom. Part of purpose for some of you is owning your own business and helping other people. So regardless of what that looks like, your purpose, it can actually hold you back from living your purpose, these 3 Ps. Because you're either burnt out and sick, or you're not living your true purpose because you've been so busy trying to please other people and do what you think they think you should do. To please them, whether it's your parents, whether it's, your spouse, fill in the blank, right? So I got a great example for that one. I really felt like I was to leave my hospital job and start my own business. And my husband at the time, because of his own fears and beliefs, great guy, but had his own fears and beliefs around money, and he pretty much kind of forbade me from opening my own business. And I knew that I could not stay at the hospital working. I knew my purpose was to own my own business. And I was caught up in one of the 3 P patterns of people pleasing, right? I didn't want him to get mad at me. I didn't want to cause conflict. So I held back a little bit from quitting the hospital and starting my own business for a while. And what happened is my health continued to get worse because I wasn't following my heart, my spirit, living my purpose. And so when I finally broke free of that people-pleasing, him in this case, and quit the job and took that leap of faith to open my own business, my health started to improve. So you guys, everything's connected, right? But that's why it's so important to heal these 3 Ps, to release them. So take a breath, right? This is big stuff. This is big stuff. So my passion work for you, what I call your inspired action steps or passion work, self-work, over the next week or until the audio lesson is to shine the light. Which of the 3 Ps do you struggle with in your life? And with who? Where or with who do you struggle with those? Are you a people pleaser with your spouse, your children, at work, all areas, or just one area? Where does perfection get a hold of you? Where do you overdo it? Oh, also perfectionism can keep, I forgot to tell you, perfectionism can also look like paralysis. So if you're afraid something's not good enough or perfect enough, it can actually paralyze you from moving towards doing something you know you're meant to do. Now, you guys, this is a big one, especially for those of us that own our own businesses, or even working for somebody else and doing what you're meant to do, your purpose. Paralysis can be caused because of perfection, fear of making mistakes, taking risks, okay? So take a note of that. So where do you fall into that, and with who? And then the superwoman, pretending to be superwoman. Do you do that in all areas, one area? So take note, shine the light in a very, I like to say with compassion and curiosity. Where in your life do you struggle with the 3 Ps, number 1? Number 2, how are they affecting your life? How do you believe they're affecting your life? Are they affecting your health? Are they affecting you truly living your purpose? You following your heart? Your happiness? Your desires? So that is what I leave you with today. Okay? I recommend that you listen or watch this video again because there's a lot of juicy stuff in here. And remember, this is a process, you guys. So we're just getting started. These are like baby steps. And I know a lot of you have probably done some of this work before, and some of you may not have all, and it doesn't matter. What matters is you're here now. So progress, not perfection. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Be firm but gentle with yourself. So moving forward in looking at this, taking the time to do this, right? Because that's a big piece. A lot of us are so busy people pleasing and pretending to be superwoman that we don't take time for ourselves, right? So I want to thank you for joining me. I'm Tanya Penny, your Healing Catalyst and Freedom Coach. And if you know other women or a few brave men that could benefit from this free virtual workshop on the 3 Ps, please feel free to copy and paste the link below so that they can sign up for it and get all the great information, okay? And you can be looking next week for the audio lesson.